Hey guys, Waterfowler 41 here, and today we are working on a completely different vehicle than my channel is used to. So it's not a pickup truck. Basically what we're looking at here is my wife's 2017 Ford Explorer. We're going to be doing kind of a minor interior upgrade. Well, I'll say minor, but it's going to impact basically the whole interior, and it's going to help with protecting the leather seats in there. But what we're looking at today is installing some Wet Okole seat covers. So what I have here is the front, the second row, as well as the third row seat covers. So these are the black with the charcoal gray insets on them. Now what you get with the kit is the upper portion of the seat as well as the butt portion. So the upper portion slips over, clips on the bottom, there's a little bit of Velcro, and then on the butt portion of the seat, just like on my GMC, you use straps and these go underneath the seats. Now when you install it, you gotta be a little bit careful, especially if you have power seats. You wanna make sure that you're not pulling on any wires, and we'll go over that in a little bit. So, like I said, this is the third set of Wet Okole seat covers I've had on vehicles. I had them on my Ford F-150. I have them currently on my GMC, and now we'll have them on the wife's Ford Explorer. Now, the reason we get them is because they help with protecting the seat. So, I have cloth seats, which can handle a little bit of abuse, but we have kids and a dog, and these seat covers have worked out real well on the Ford in the past. They work out well on the GMC, so it was really only a matter of time before we got them for the Ford Explorer. But to keep going with the rest of what you get in the kit, so you have provisions for the headrest here on the driver's side, and basically on any of the backs that have a headrest that's independent of the actual seat, you'll have a seam and everything so you could tuck into the trim. Obviously, you get the headrest, which Velcros on, slips over and Velcros on. Back seat, you get similar to the front. The back will slip over the, or I guess the back portion slips over the back of the seat, and then the bottom uses straps. Then the rear seats, this is the first time I've ever done an SUV with 3 rows. So the rear is going to slip over the back of the seat, and then let's see, looks like the bottom does the same thing. So we'll mess around with that one when we get there, and then you get the headrest obviously for this one. So again, these are from Wet Okole. Third set of these seats that I have, they last about as long as the vehicles last in our family, but there's a couple things that I really like about these things and the reason why we got them. So, not fully strapped in yet, but I wanted to show you something here. Hopefully you guys have enough light. Right now, our youngest son is sitting in this gigantic Recaro car seat. The thing that bothers me most about this is most of these little seat protectors that you could buy, they don't cover up on top, and unless you put a towel up there, you're gonna end up ruining the headrest. So, with the Wet Okole seat covers, we're gonna now have a cover over that headrest. Now, the other thing that I get a lot of questions on my GMC video is, does the seat covers work with the clip-in straps? And yes, they do. So in the GMC version, there was little slits cut in the back, allowing you to clip into those little car seat harnesses. On the Ford, the car seat harness, I guess the clips or the bars that you clip into, are located between the butt portion and the back portion, so you don't need those provisions here. So, like I said, really the main focus of why we got the seat covers is to start protecting the seats. So I don't know if you can see, but the rear of the seats, we're just outside of winter now, and they take a beating. They walk into the car, they got salt in their shoes. That salt's gonna end up somewhere. It either ends up on the floor mats or on the back seat. So those seat covers will cover up the whole back portion. I forgot to mention, the other thing that really bugs me about car seats, but I know it's a completely 100% safety item, is a lot of these car seats use a strap that goes to the back. Now what happens is that car seat strap will push down on the seat, and when you got a kid getting in it every day, you're gonna end up wearing out that seat. So again, with the seat covers, you're gonna have a pad here, at least an extra layer to protect the leather. So now this strap could pull and it'll sit on top of the neoprene. Again, you could jam towels in here all you want, but that looks kind of bad. So figured let's go the best route, and let's go with something that's gonna be a little bit more form-fitting. All right, the first thing we're gonna start with on the driver's side is the bottom of the seat. So like I said, the bottom of the seat just straps on. And I don't believe there's really a difference. Oh, it is marked. So then maybe there's a little bit of a difference. Yeah, I think the cut for the seatbelt. What we're gonna do is start with the bottom, and because they're straps, we're just gonna slip everything through the back on the side. This takes a little bit of monkeying around, but one of the most important things to do is make sure that when you're buckling these straps underneath the seat, that you're not getting in the way of any, probably don't see it. You're not getting in the way of any of the electrical connections underneath the seat. The last thing you want to do, especially with seats with airbags, is mess with any of the connections. And then let's say you're moving the seat back, all of a sudden the strap on the seat cover pulls out a plug, and then you got an issue. So we're gonna make sure that when we're putting the seat cover underneath and strapping everything in underneath the seat, that everything's up and out of the way. The other thing I did want to point out is this car does have side airbags. So just like my GMC, what Wet Okole does is they cut slits in the side of the seat so it works with side airbags. So you're not risking anything by installing these. So I'm gonna go ahead and install these, and we'll come back and give a quick rundown of where the straps and everything went. All right, so we got the bottom in. And with any seat cover, well, I guess with any of the seat cover installs that I've done, the bottom on the front is always the most difficult, mostly because you got to deal with a trim piece here and you got electronics and everything. But basically, once you get past here, it's all downhill. So the first thing you did is I slid the 2 straps through the back, and then those will go through. I think most seats have this. This is all one piece. So the straps came out just underneath this little panel here. It's all plastic inside here. Once I pulled those straps through, I fed them underneath the seat, and I used those straps to basically pull the whole cover itself back. And you got to do a lot of the pushing like that just to get everything cinched in there. Then you got the 2 front straps here, which just sit down right here. And then you have only one on this side, and that connects to the mate version of it on this side. Dropping it down on the seatbelt side is very easy because there's no trim panel here. This portion, you literally only have one option to get the strap down through here. So it's right about here, the hole that gets you down below the seat. So let's take a look underneath. All right. So we got, this is the side strap here. And that is what is slipped down between the trim here and on the seatbelt side over there. And we pulled everything up out of the way to get away from the motors and any of the drives underneath here. Then the 2 rear straps, I made those as long as I could so I could pull them up through here. And then I fed the front straps of the seat. There's a little bar. Hopefully you can see that. There's a little bar up here, and I fed the straps up over that, so it pulls all of the straps up out of the way of all the wires underneath here. So once that was installed, you just pull everything tight and you're good. So you don't need to make these crazy tight because it is neoprene, it stretches. You don't want to pull it down. After a while, once they're installed, they'll stay fitted on the seat, or I guess they'll form better to the seat. But once you have that portion in, you could then take it and tuck it underneath the trim nicely and how you want. So once it's installed, you can see seat cover works perfectly fine. And all electronics still work. So the next thing we're gonna do is do the rear. In order to do the back on the seats, you gotta take the headrest off. So pretty simple, button here, push them both at the same time, and you get the headrest there. So I'll start with throwing the cover on the headrest, which is just a slip cover, and there's really one orientation that it could go on. So it might take some playing around with it or just kind of looking at it side by side. But once that goes on, then we'll slip the top portion of the back of the seat on, and then the driver's side is done. All right, we're gonna slip the rear on, but I just wanted to show you how this one attaches. There's no Velcro or anything like that on the back portion of the seat. It's just these clips. And typically how I do this is I'll pull both of these portions down as far as I can get them, so this portion is taut on the back of the seat, and then I'll take these hooks and just find little clips underneath the seat just to hook these on. It's on elastic cord, so you got some play with it. But typically you can find a home for these pretty easily. The only tricky part is getting it past that little shield again. So it may take some fishing to get these guys out of there. They're a little short, but again, pretty simple once you get it down through there. And there's plenty of little holes and little rails and everything underneath the seat to find a home for these guys. So the other thing is on the top, you got this double seam here, and these pop right around here. So there's enough play in the leather that you can push the neoprene around there, and it looks nice and factory. Again, when you're doing it, make sure you're doing it on the right side. This could be a very dangerous mess up if you don't do it the right way. So again, these are marked, so it does say driver's side here. But what you want to make sure is where your side airbags are, so they're built into the side of the seat. You want to make sure that this flap is right there. And this is basically just a little opening. It's weaker neoprene, so in the event of an accident and these airbags do go off, the seat cover allows it to do what it needs to do. So we're going to slip this bad boy over there. Then I already did the headrest portion of it. So with the headrest portion, one side, there's a headrest cover per side. So basically the way I typically do these is when there's a pocket sewn on one side, so this portion is sewn in, whereas this portion is loose. I like to have this side towards the inside of the vehicle. That way you see the, I'll say the nicer side of the headrest. And then it just slips on, and then you Velcro up anything up underneath. Then you slip the headrest back on. So let's pop this guy on, put the headrest on, and we'll take a look at what the front seat looks like once we're done. All right, we got the rears on, and they look a little puffy. That's because the neoprene takes some time to break in, but I want to show you a quick little trick. So you saw the front of the back seat cover had 2 clips, and those 2 clips slip down between the back and the bottom of the seat. So to make your life easier, here's what I suggest doing. You could slip them down, and then what you could do is you could pull this panel off. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. You could pull this panel out, and then you could grab those straps. So what I did is I grabbed them and I just clipped them on here real quick, just as a temporary hold. Did the same thing over here. I popped out that side piece, or it's all elastic here, so it just pulls right out, and then I just grabbed the hook and hooked it underneath there. Then I pulled the back down just to make sure everything was cinched down, and now I could go up underneath the seat and clip everything in, put the headrest on, and we're good. So taking a look at the top of the seat cover, like I said, they just slip around the plastic grips here, or the plastic holders for the headrest, and you're good to go. All right, so there we have it. We got the backs on. Like I said, they're gonna be a little puffy for the first couple of weeks because you gotta break them in, but essentially what happened is put the back on, slip those 2 clips underneath there. Now underneath every car seat is a bunch of springs, and they look like basically bed springs. So those clips that you get on the bottom of the back piece could just go up underneath and clip onto one of those. Again, make sure you're out of the way of any wires. You're not clipping onto wires or any clips or clamps or anything, that you're going to the springs themselves. So then once you get the rear on and you slip the back underneath the little plastic piece here, you can slip the headrest on, and once the headrest is on, you're good to go. So everything fits nicely, looks about as OEM as you can get with seat covers, short of replacing the whole seat, but I love them. So let's go ahead and knock out the rear seats. All right, we are gonna start on the rears now, and basically what I'm gonna do is the 60-40 portion, and I'll do the 40 later. Or I'm sorry, the 60 portion of the 60-40, and I'll do the 40 later. But this is the first time I've ever done a rear seat with a seat belt that cuts through the middle of the seat. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this is the seat that we're going to be doing. This is the 60 portion of the seat. That's the 40. One cover over here, one cover on the bottom, and then that gets its own cover because that seat slides forward and back. So what I was saying is this has a built-in seat belt, and I was curious how that's going to work, but looking at the seat covers, so this is the back, the whole back unvelcros. So we're going to unvelcro this, we're going to slip this down over the top, and then it just velcros up around the sides. No straps to deal with. So similar to the front, we are going to do the bottom first. It's easier to slide this through when there's nothing in that little channel between the back and the butt piece. And then just clip these up underneath. There's so much room underneath the Ford Explorer seats, so this is going to be a very easy one. Driver's side and the passenger side front seats, a lot more wires going on that one, whereas there's no wires in this one, so it should be easy peasy on this side. All right, so we got the rear bottom portion on, and this one was pretty easy because, like I said, there's a lot of room underneath there, and you have the ability to flip the seat back. So I could basically just sit back here and pull the straps through. So you had, and I wanted to correct myself on something I said earlier, but I'll get to that in a second. So you got strap here, and then strap in the middle. Pull those guys. That will let you pull everything back as far as you're going to get it. Then you got the straps up front that those connect to, and then you got one on the side that goes underneath. Again, on the outside, you got to go through this trim. I definitely recommend having a trim tool just to poke things through. It lets you get things through there nice and clean, and it gives it a nice clean look on the side. So the one thing I want to correct myself on earlier is I was saying that the GMC had to have extra provisions for the seatbelt harnesses. The Ford Explorer had ones too. I just didn't see them. So when you line everything up, make sure you tuck the cushion around the hooks there so you have access to them if you have car seats. If not, then you could just go over the top of them. But this also gives you ability to pull everything down, and you know how far you got to pull things down. So let's do the back here, and then we'll do the headrest, and then we're good to go for the 60 side. All right, the 60 portion of the back is done, but I have the seats folded down because I wanted to show you something. So when you're putting the back on, it slips over. There's a lot of Velcro seams to be done. There's no straps or anything like that, but it really is helpful to pull through the bottom piece, so the front portion of the back, do the bottom, and then you pull down the back, and you basically just pull it up, and it'll pull everything down nice and tight. So I did that, and just like the front seats, let's flip it up here. There's provisions cut in the top here for the little piece of plastic molding for the headrest to mount into. So then you just go ahead and throw your headrests on there. You got your covers for those, the black for the middle on mine because I had the charcoal insets, and then everything is installed. I really like how the backs went in, a lot easier than the fronts. There's no straps obviously, but the backs just slip on, and I guess you could do that when you got a big large seat like this that folds back and forth. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the 40 side, and then we'll start on the back here, and then we are done. All right, I'm really embarrassed that it took me this long to figure this out, but if you have trouble trying to slip the strap in between the trim and the metal plates underneath the seat itself, take the strap apart, because all of these clips are removable. Just slide the strap through and then reattach all the clips on the other side. So in doing that, I was able to slip this guy way up underneath the trim to give it a nice clean look. So this is the bottom of the 40 side, and it's all the clips. Everything's pulled in tightly. But again, if you can't get it between the trim and the seat, don't be afraid to take the strap apart, slip the strap through, and then reattach all the clips on the other side. All right, guys, we're finally getting an opportunity here to install the third row seat covers on the 2017 Ford Explorer. So we already did the front row, the second row. I took a couple days off here, had a few errands I had to run, got some time now, and we're gonna work on installing the third row seats. So the third rows are unique in that the seats themselves do a few things. First of all, they fold up so you can get access to the trunk, but they also fold flat so you got more room for storage in here. So the seat covers themselves have to work around that in order to retain factory functionality, and they do that. So we'll take a look at the bottom. So this is the bottom portion of the seat for the back, and you can tell they got the provision for the handle there, and then some openings for the cutouts for the clips. So I'll show you, there's some brackets here, so when you fold the seat up, this clips in up front, so it holds the seat down. So the seat covers have to work around it. That said, that means that your seat covers here will be based on the side. So when folded up, let's see here, this cover here, because it's got the provision on the left side, will not fit on the passenger side. So this is the driver's side. So just keep that in mind when you're going on to put it on. And I believe these marked? Yep, they're marked, so it says driver's side there. So we're gonna go ahead and get this seat folded back, and then we're gonna start popping on the seat covers. Like the front and second row, we're gonna start with the butt portion of it. That seems to be a bit cleaner, and then we're gonna work on the back because that's sort of an independent piece, and then obviously finish up with the headrest. So let's go ahead and get these installed. All right, so we got the butt portion of the back seat installed, or third row seat installed. So this is the back portion of it. You got, like I said, the provision for the handle here. You got plenty of clearance around this metal bracket here, so it could clip in. Let's see. So when you put the seat cover on, you got this bottom portion. Oop. You got the bottom portion here, and there's some Velcro in here. Let's take off that Velcro. You got the hard side of the Velcro, and this is basically, it's lined on the sides here. That's on the sides there, and then basically what you do is you want to line it up, pull all the way down. Same thing on this side, pull all the way down, and then everything buttons up really nicely on the bottom there. Then you got some clips, you find a little spot underneath to clip it to, then you're good to go. So that is the bottom portion of the seat. So just like that back portion of it, the other portion of it here that goes around on the flat portion when the seat's laying flat, this is all the hard side of the Velcro, and that too just Velcros right onto the board here. Just line it up with the seat lines, and then you're good to go. Then you got some more clips here. Those just wrap around and find an area to clip them to. Either you can clip them to the other clips, or you can find a piece underneath that you can wrap them to. I found a little piece of a metal or plastic trim for this guy, and this guy just got kind of wedged in there right now. I don't think you really need those all that much, but they're there, so might as well find a home for them. So the back portion is just gonna pop on over here, gonna wrap underneath, and it's gonna attach to itself. It's a pretty independent piece. And then we have the headrest, which just like the front and the second row, the headrest is just gonna slip on and Velcro up underneath. Let's go ahead and knock that one out. All right, so we got the backrest on. So basically the way the backrest goes, it slips over the top or the backrest of the seat, and then the bottom, the front portion of the backrest actually attaches to the rear portion. So it's basically like a big sleeve. None of the Velcro on the backrest seat cover actually attaches to the seat, unlike the bottom, where the bottom was actually attaching to the factory carpet. The back actually attaches to itself. So you got the soft side Velcro on the front portion of it, you got the hard side on the back. You pull the soft side up, and then you just Velcro straight across the bottom of the back side of the backrest, if you kind of catch what I'm throwing there. So again, the front portion of the seat rest folds up underneath, and then this portion, the back of it, actually attaches to that little lip that you pull through. And then once everything pulls through, then you got your strap for releasing the seats that just Velcros there, and then you're good to go. So let's take a look at the front of it. So we got our driver's side rear seat done. Looks great. Let's go ahead and knock out the passenger side, and then this car is completely upgraded to Wet Okole seat covers. All right, well, there we go. We got the third row fully installed. So one quick note on that, and I don't know if I mentioned it on the first or second row, but on the headrest, the Velcro wraps underneath the bottom portion of the headrest. On every headrest, at least what I did, is I took the Velcro and Velcroed it forward. Meaning, I took the headrest itself, and this piece of fabric continues all the way in the front, and then the Velcro portion is actually in the front of the headrest. It's not in the back. I suppose you could do it either way. It just seemed like these fit better with the Velcro wrapping towards the front of the car instead of towards the rear of the car. So there's the rear of the seat rest. Let's see if I can. All right, so there you go. Folded seats. You got still access to do, you know, the flat layout with everything, but also you still have the ability to pop these guys up, put them back into place. So you still have access to keep the seats folded flat or have them upright in the fold position. So with the Wet Okole seat covers, they do take a little bit to start to kind of shrink down after you kind of stretch them and manipulate to get them on, so that will eventually go away. But I absolutely love the look of them. I think it was a tasteful upgrade on my wife's car here, and it'll be really good when we have the dog in back, because you can see Labrador hair has a way to get tangled into pretty much everything. On top of neoprene, it'll be a lot easier to vacuum out. So that said, I'm pretty happy with the install here. Probably poor lighting, but the back or the front seat covers have been holding up very well. She's happy with the seat covers there. The kids absolutely love the seat covers. Let's fold this one back. Back seat looks very well. This is what I was talking about earlier. Let's see here. So we do have a second car seat that goes right here, and it's a larger car seat. So it's this Recaro here, and this portion actually leans on the headrest portion of the seat. And what it was doing with the leather was, you know, you have something leaning on leather and it bounces around enough, it ultimately ends up wearing a line in the leather, and we didn't want that to happen. So that's why we went ahead and got the Wet Okole covers for the Explorer, because we just really didn't want to beat the hell out of the interior here with the car seats. Got the booster seat over there. We'll have the larger seat here. And then we have the third row option. Now typically when we're driving around, these seats are folded down flat. When we go up to our lake house, dog sits in the back here, luggage and everything. So don't really use these seats too much, but absolutely use these seats every day. And so far they held up great. Even though we got snow and spring, these seats have kept the back of the car extremely clean, with the exception of the floor. Well, that said, hope you got some information out of this one. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe. Definitely let me know if you have any questions on it. I'm trying to answer every comment I get on any of my videos. But other than that, thank you very much for watching.